He's the Oprah Winfrey of head trauma.
What? Hold up.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily cringe content anywhere on the internet. Promise, swearsies, it's just a fact, and it's totally science. Go ahead and look it up. Today, we're diving into something a little bit different from Witch Finger. I'm caught up on the Blood for Oil series. That's Rasputin versus Muja. But he has another Neckbeard series going, which is about a Neckbeard named Snowman. So we're going to learn all about him today, and hopefully it's not going to go horribly wrong. Anyways, let's go ahead. We'll get some plugs and disclaimers out of the way, and then we will dive right into some of this Tales of Neckbeard's cringe. Snowman on a train. The fatal error of mistaking a mega chad for a beardo. Now, we have seen the inverse of this before, mistaking a beard for a chad, but we've never seen a chad mistaken for a beard, right? So this should be relatively interesting. Gather around, dear friends. Yay, Witch Finger's back. For today, I have a very interesting topic in the field of ReddX. Air horn. Neckbeard research. One that you will not soon forget. Today, we're going to approach the topic of neckbeardiness from an unorthodox angle. One that I'm sure you will find most intriguing. Well, I mean, I can't argue with that. The dude knows his audience. What do you want? I do find it intriguing from the title alone. What happens when you mistake a high-protein turbo chad for a neckbeard? It is a deadly mistake to make. Now, friends of ReddX, can we stop with the air horn? We'll recall our resident human hobo porcupine, the incomparable Ramtide. Self-described portly ginger man-child, certified road pirate, rider of the rails, philosopher of shower fecal filtration evacuation. Yes, he is all of those things, but maybe the last one even more than all the others. And generally mild-mannered vagrant that can flip a switch and go completely shithouse on you if you endanger his dear friends. And because I enjoy his stories on ReddX's YouTube so much, let's remind everyone that he's got a Patreon too, and it's about pirates. It's called Black Flag Printing Press, and he uses that money to eat and subsist and pay his car insurance, which is kind of like his rent if you think about it. But yes, Ramtide definitely needs some fun bucks, so if you can spare it, I do hope you'll support him on Patreon. I'll leave a link in the description for you. How about that? But enough shameless plugs, back to the stories. Well, dear friends, what if I told you about someone who was generally harmless looking, even, dare I say, a bitch-made looking nerd, but was actually a rampaging violent criminal that could tear you limb from limb if you made the mistake of assuming that you could pull one on him like a common, run-of-the-mill, diabetes-stricken neckbeard? I mean, I pretty much have a non-interventionist policy. I don't generally screw with people even if they are terrible people. So yeah, if you did catch hands from Snowman the Stealth Chad, I mean, you probably deserved it, honestly. As long as he's not like an outright jerk to people, as long as he is only a jerk in response, then I think we could get along pretty well. Because yeah, that is basically what this story is about. Enter the Snowman. Why is he named the Snowman? Because he does a lot of cocaine. No, that's not true.
Cocaina. No. Flour.
Snowman is a nickname that he got from the Brazilians in Brazilian jiu-jitsu tournaments because they likened his fighting style to a snowball rolling down a hill. The longer the match goes, the more dangerous he gets because that snowball just rolls until it becomes an avalanche. I don't know much about jiu-jitsu. I don't know much about much, but especially not jiu-jitsu. So I'm just going to presume that all of that's true. He's going to wear you out and break you down. Perhaps he just has an astonishing amount of stamina for somebody who looks like a neckbeard. That's right, our dear friend Snowman is a practicing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu enthusiast. Actually, that's not even half of it. He's a world-class Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter that goes to Brazil to fight in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournaments. God damn, that's cool. I mean, I don't even care that much about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but being a world-class anything, traveling around and doing this thing to make your living, that is amazing to me. I love it. That by itself would be enough to give most grown men pause, but that's not even the most batshit crazy violent thing that he's capable of. For starters, Snowman was the child actor. Oh my God, he's Macaulay Culkin. That's who I think of when you say child actor. Everything you associate with former child actors, the drugs, the abuse, the parents taking all the money, yeah, that was him. Notice I didn't say a child actor. I said the child actor because Snowman was actually the landmark case that most modern laws created to protect child actors are based on. Wow. This dude changed the world. So would we know who he is? God, what child actor now does jiu-jitsu tournaments? Maybe the comments will have a guess. And yes, as the child actor, he did spend a significant portion of his life as a violent, homeless, broke, on his ass drug addict. Yeah, I suppose that's the danger of getting famous a little too early. Unless, you know, you're like Angus T. Jones and you watch Charlie Sheen doing coke on the set of 3.5 Men and you're like, I'm never going to be like that. And now he just goes to church all the time. He doesn't do much of anything except love Jesus. So, yeah, I guess Charlie Sheen did serve a purpose. He taught this kid what the kid doesn't want to be. But that's about the only child actor I can think of that didn't turn out completely terrible. He's weird, but he's not completely terrible. But wait, there's more. Snowman is also a violent felon. He went to prison for beating up some guy at a high school party. In prison, he joined a prison gang, where he rose to prominent rank because he was such a dependable soldier for the gang. Okay, so what's the score now? All right, we've got violent felon, child actor, prison gang, world-class BJJ fighter. I gotta pause again and wonder what he was doing at a high school party. Was he like an old man just creeping on young chicks or something, or was he actually in high school at the time? I'm gonna go ahead, presume the best about him, but because of the way that it's ordered, you know, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, all this stuff, also felon most recently, I assume that's the most recent thing, but I might be completely off base on that. But let us talk about the most recent tragedy. Snowman was recently in a truck accident that put him in a coma for 9 months. Wow. I know this because he called me after being incommunicado for 9 months. Maybe he had a secret baby. I was one of the people he reached out to when he got out of the coma. Jesus Christ, dude. At least he came out of it. 9 months? Wow. This is absolutely wild stuff we got today. Who is this person? Can I look them up? I suddenly very much want to read their biography. Which brings me to my next point. Who the hell do you know that actually wakes up from a coma? That's what I said. That's Hollywood soap opera bullshit. Oh, also, he had a brain tumor. It's just one thing after another with this guy. They had to saw it out of the back of his skull. There was 52 stitches and a chunk of bone. Here's a fun fact. The doctors used to think that he had CTE. That is the condition of being punch drunk. That kind of mental condition that NFL linebackers and boxers develop later in life after getting banged in the head a few too many times. Turns out, that was a misdiagnosis. Brain tumors are just really difficult to detect via x-ray, so the docs just kind of assumed for years that he was punch drunk due to all that Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So, in addition to being a violent felon that wakes up from comas and survives deadly truck crashes, this guy spent the entirety of his adult life competitively fighting Brazilians with a golf ball full of death rattling around inside of his skull. Are we making this up? Come on, man. Is this a real person for real? I mean, I haven't heard anything too outlandish yet, except for all the backstory. I have to believe it's real. This is not the first story that Witchfinger has told us, and I know for a fact that the Blood for Oil retellings are real, so yeah, I gotta assume that this is accurate as well. And there's so many entries to this story. I am very morbidly fascinated with how Snowman's life works out. Witchfinger, you're officially Snowman's biographer. Don't miss a beat. I have to know everything. Snowman's most impressive feat of pugilism was the time, while employed as a bouncer, that he brought his fists to a gunfight and won. All right.
No.
All right. Come on. He was working in a club as security and went to go bounce a couple of rowdies. The second he put his hands on the dude to yank him off the bar stool, the guy pulled out a gun and put 3 .45 caliber slugs through his guts at .0. Do you know what .0 is? .0 means that the barrel of the gun is inside of your skin. Point blank is 30 feet and under. .0 is when the slide punches you when I pull the trigger. Well, hey there, I learned a thing. Snowman beat that dude within an inch of his life with a septic, leaking intestine. Yeah, a bullet had torn up his shit pipes and spilled him into his guts, and a collapsed lung. That guy is in prison for attempted murder, and Snowman still walks the streets with a few new scars to tell the story. Adrenaline is a crazy thing. He brought his fists to a gunfight and won against a freaking 45. I mean, if Snowman is a real man, he's definitely tougher than I could ever hope to be. He might be tougher than Ramtide, although I can't really speak on that. Ramtide has had his whole arm become like a chunk of dangling meat. And he still lived to tell about it, so I just don't know, man. This is why I always gotta stay humble, because there's always a bigger fish. There is always a tougher fish. I don't really want to fight nobody. If it comes down to it, I will. Might get my ass kicked, but at least I can say I stood my ground. All right, so all of this by itself is pretty fucking crazy and unbelievable, but in my younger days, I spent a lot of time with Snowman, and I witnessed a lot of these incomparable death wishes in action, or at least the aftermath. Now, if you asked, OP, why on earth were you spending so much time around such a violent maniac? Well, then I would tell you that it really just came down to the nickname that Snowman gave me. He used to call me Jiminy Cricket.
Peter, I'm your conscience, Jiminy Cricket.
Ah, bug!
As in the cricket who serves as Pinocchio's conscience and mentor in Disney's Pinocchio. I don't know if I'm really like too into that name, but Snowman's not a great name either, so I don't know. I just want a tough nickname like ReddX. Oh yeah, that's edgy. I was Jiminy Cricket because I was one of the only people he knew who could talk him out of doing stupid, violent, criminal things. I also just kind of helped him out a lot. Like most felons, Snowman didn't have a lot of paperwork. He couldn't own guns or have a driver's license, because one of his crimes as a teenager was boosting and joyriding a cop car, which 86'd his ability to get a license permanently. Yeah, I guess we all make decisions. I mean, really, if he was that famous, he should have got off with just a slap on the wrist, right? Although, no, it takes money. Fame doesn't really buy you a slap on the wrist. Money does. So yeah, needless to say, Snowman had a hard time generally functioning in society. So, in my infinite wisdom, I figured it was better to be good friends with a violent maniac than to be one of the broken bodies in his path of destruction. That makes sense to me. So I gave him rides to work and helped him do grocery shopping, spell-checked his resumes, and did general functioning member of society shit in order to help him, you know, function in society. Well, yeah, that's a really great plan. Now you've got a violent psychopath on your side. You do a bit of the light lifting for him, and he'll do a bit of the heavy lifting for you. I could see how this works out. But of course, being a violent criminal and professional Brazilian jiu-jitsu fighter that seemed to be completely allergic to death and pain wasn't really the thing that made Snowman such a scary individual. No, what made Snowman truly terrifying is that Snowman looks like you could take him in a fight. Uh-oh. If you saw Snowman walking down the street, you might look at him and say, yeah, I could take that guy. Let's jump him and run his pockets. And I mean, after that point, you're kind of just reaping what you sow, aren't you? I can't feel bad for people that harass other people for no reason. Snowman is just the embodiment of karma, I do suppose. Snowman looks like an adult version of Jonah Hill that just got out of a rehab clinic. He looks like someone you'd find sitting at the BO and axe-drenched tables of a comic shop, flipping cards at Friday Night Magic. Snowman looks like most of his exercise comes from chasing ice cream trucks down the street. Well, at least it did. You can imagine that being in a coma for 9 months and being on a feeding tube is probably a pretty great way to lose weight. Because you've lost 95% of all your muscle mass. And yeah, it was quite a weight loss plan. Snowman was pretty happy about that development because it was a titanically unfair advantage in his favor to drop a weight class or two in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu after spending his entire life training against the big healthy boys. Oh, Snowman, he's got such a one-track mind. Yeah, I went in the coma for 9 months, but at least I dropped a few weight classes. Always look on the bright side, I guess. And what happens when one would mistake Snowman for a chubby bitch-made beardo on the streets? Well, you don't really have to guess, because I know what happens, because it did happen. More than once, I'm sure. The answer is that he beats you and your friends within an inch of your life with one hand tied behind his back. Literally, true story. Come on, dude. If this was an OP talking about themselves, I would have blasted a hole through them. I would have been like, no way, this is real. But it's an OP talking about a friend of his, so it does lend a bit of credibility. My suspension of disbelief is still hanging in there, but only just. He seems like he hopped out of a comic book or something like that. What is this? All right, so let's set the stage. We're in the middle of the greater Los Angeles area on a commuter train. For those of you who have never endured the insanity of Hell A, allow me to explain why trains are a great place for attempted robbery. I mean, I lived in Hell A for a long time, but it was the good part, in Burbank, 15 minutes away from Hollywood, where all the movie studios are at and stuff. The only time I experienced the true, like, dirty insanity was when I would drive around for comedy gigs. I get really scared in my little car and lock the doors. I'm like, please don't carjack me. A long time ago, in the boomer times, the great American automotive industry got their lobbyists together and leaned on the city planners of LA. They pumped a bunch of money into the civic planning for infrastructure and roads with the sole goal of making public transportation in Los Angeles a complete shit show. And boy, did they ever succeed. Why did they do this? Well, obviously because they wanted people to buy cars instead of using reliable public transportation. You ever wonder why traffic in LA is the lowest circle of hell? Yeah, that is why. God, I'm so glad I don't have to commute anywhere anymore. I mean, traffic in Manila is almost as bad, but really nothing compares to rush hour traffic in LA. Sitting on the freeway for 2 hours to make a 30-minute drive home. Oh, lowest circle of hell indeed. The end result is that most people in LA drive. Even if you don't want to, even if you don't have a reason to. It's nearly impossible to be a functioning adult in the LA area without a car. I mean, sure, you can do it, but I promise that you will not like it. Because in LA, only the most destitute and desperate travelers ride the buses and the trains. Anyone who can afford even a tired old shitbox car with broken windows and a busted air conditioner drives. You got busted windows? No problem. Tape a garbage bag over it. Oh, it's getting hot in there and the air conditioner's broken too? No problem. Poke a hole in the garbage bag. Now you're driving down the street with this cool whistling sound. Woo! And what kind of people do you suppose you run into on these trains and buses if you are in such a sorry state? Well, maniacs like Snowman. Who can't drive because he's a felon with a lifelong prohibition on his license for joyriding cop cars. Once upon a time in LA, while riding the train through the hood to his day job, where he pushed shopping carts across a Target parking lot, Snowman was minding his own business when 3 teenage lads from the hood got onto the train and saw that he was very chubby, very harmless looking, and very alone. God, I love it, dude. They don't even know the karmic justice that is about to be delivered. They thought he was bitch made, so they decided to tax him for his backpack. Now, I should start by saying that there was nothing of value in Snowman's backpack. There was a red Target work shirt, a name badge, and maybe a water bottle and some house keys. But that backpack had a lot of sentimental value to Snowman. It had been with him since high school, one of his only friends. More importantly, you did not hood tax the Snowman and expect him to lie down. If you hood taxed the Snowman, he had to wild out. On principle. And so he did. For those of you who have never had the benefit of a street-level education, the number one way to get jumped in the hood is to look like you don't belong. These 3 hoodlums that accosted Snowman were of African-American descent, and they got on the train in a predominantly African-American community. Snowman, well, he doesn't just fight like an avalanche, he looks like one. White as white, beardo-looking chubby dude on a hood train in the hood. I mean, yeah, I'd probably jump him too if I didn't even know better. It's not a race thing, it's a hood thing. I mean, I do believe that they probably would rob Urkel if they saw him sitting on the train. But isn't there a certain amount of, confidence that Snowman exudes? They don't notice that part. They just see a chubby dude and they're like, all right, we gotta get him. Now, what was the phrase that our dear Ramtide was fond of saying when he was about to smack the Dorito dust out of some beardo? You get one freebie. After that, it's on. Something to that effect. Well, that is exactly what happened. The ringleader of the Hood Squad walked right up the train car and stood in front of Snowman. Snowman, minding his own business, sat in his seat and ignored that poor teenage gangster. Because our boy Snow had been around the block and had been a lot more gangster a lot longer. Ignoring that kid was the greatest act of charity that he could bestow. God. That kid said, "Give me your backpack." Snowman, looking at him as if for the first time, looked him up, looked him down, looked at his friend on the left, looked at his friend on the right, and said, oh, this is the first time he spoke. I guess he needs to get the Arnold voice, if anything. "Yeah, we're not doing that." He went back to minding his own business, and that kid slapped him in the face, open-handed. All right, here we go. Now, his first mistake was starting shit at all with Snowman. His second mistake was giving him the open palm, because the only thing worse than coming at the king and missing is coming at the king and wasting your first and only shot. Now, let's just have a little sidebar here for a moment. Women and children are advised to leave this video now because from here on in, it's basically just the Incredible Hulk cleaning a train car using a human being as a mop. Oh, God. It's like that bus fight video that came out a few years ago, but way more epic. Why did nobody get this on camera? Snowman is the epic beard man, all right? I will hear no disagreements about that. Anyways, I just wanted to take this opportunity to tell you something that was wrong with Snowman at the time of this incident. He only had one good arm. Snowman's left arm was bundled up in his backpack strap as a makeshift sling because an aggravated Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu injury was acting up and the tendon in his arm snapped, which basically left his left arm like a wet noodle. Also, Snowman was left-handed. Just when I think that there can't possibly be more, it just keeps piling on. This dude is not a human. If he actually does die one day, he's gonna burst into flame and just rise from the ashes like a phoenix. He's still got a tumor in his brain, but he's totally reborn and stuff. The Snowman was literally about to beat 3 teenage wannabe gangsters within an inch of their lives with one hand tied behind his back. And it wasn't even his good hand. Snowman's right hand shot out like a cannon and gripped the lead gangster around the neck, and it started choking. Have you ever seen the pilot episode of Venture Brothers where Brock Sampson just puts his giant meat hook around Speedy's neck and just doesn't let go, even after he's rendered unconscious by tranquilizer darts? That was about to happen in real life. Snowman was about to kill Speedy. Fun fact, Snowman's right hand has about 350 pounds of grip strength. He measured it with a device in a gym. The average grip strength of an adult man is in the ballpark of 105 pounds. This is not even Snowman's good hand. He's been genetically fused with a gorilla or something like that, bro. This is too ridiculous. When Snowman's death claw shot out and Chewbacca'd that kid around the neck, his 2 little hood friends immediately jumped in and started rat packing him, throwing hands all over him wherever they could, smacking, punching, just getting in wherever they could to try and make him release the death grip on their buddy's neck. Snowman laughed and said, "If that's as hard as you hit, we're going to be here all day." He is such a Chad, dude. Where did this guy come from? Snowman was now standing, He turned 90 degrees and decided that the plastic train seat was a nail and that his new friend's head was a hammer. He started lawnmowering the shit out of that kid's skull on the plastic seat, bouncing it off of it like a basketball. I mean, you can't even feel bad for him. This is what you started. It didn't end the way you expected, but you chose this path. At some point during this brutality, the kid mercifully went limp. Unfortunately, Snowman was in prison gang Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu maniac mode because, yeah, the switch had been flipped. Stop? Because his victim passed out? Nah, that wouldn't be a lesson. This was Snowman's world, and the rest of us just lived in it, on his charity. God damn. If Snowman has to get punched in the head and get concussions, then everyone has to get concussions. He's the Oprah Winfrey of head trauma.
What? Hold up.
You get a concussion. You get a concussion. Everyone gets a concussion. It might be the best line I've ever read in any story ever. It's right up there with Zuka's Burger Beard line about Paul Bunyan being the great American kaiju. The Oprah Winfrey of head trauma. Jesus. Snowman kept bouncing that kid's head off of the seat long after he had made his point. Oh, God. So glad I pulled this one out today. Good Lord. Eventually, the train reached the next stop, and in his bountiful mercy, Snowman let that kid go. And his buddies dragged him off the train in a snail trail of blood and hard-earned wisdom. I say hard-earned wisdom instead of cowardice because, well, if you saw all that happen, you wouldn't fault anyone for bitching out of there either. Whew. Meanwhile, someone else on the train was calling the cops. They met Snowman on the platform when he got off and asked him for a statement. Now, anyone who's ever lived the thug life and paid for it knows there's 4 magic words that you can say to a police officer to make him go away without even trying to argue with you. And Snowman said those 4 magic words. I've been to prison. If you tell a cop that you've been to prison, that's basically telling the cop that he's wasting his breath, and you're not talking, for better or for worse. You know, you were lucky this time. You should cooperate with us and help us catch him. They might come back for the run back with a gun. The cop tried to appeal to reason. If they don't have a gun next time, I'm gonna be motherfucking offended. Snowman said. Oh, God. He's like my new favorite character ever. What the hell is this? Can this possibly be real life? Man. The cops just kind of had to shrug and let him walk. He had said the 4 magic words. Snowman still showed up to work that day. He walked right into the front door of the Target with a busted lip and a black eye from where the hoodlums had roughed him up while rat packing him, and his manager just turned him around and told him to go home. He walked down to my house where he told me the story, and we had a beer on my porch, and I gave him a ride home later so that he wouldn't have to almost kill anyone on the train again. I like to think that the lesson here is pure poetry, specifically bombs over Baghdad. Don't pull the thing out unless you plan to bang. Bombs over Baghdad. Don't even bang unless you plan to hit something. Bombs over Baghdad. All right. God, Outkast is so freaking good. Stankonia, that album was my whole youth. Thank you very much. So, where is Snowman at right now? Well, he's in Colorado. I'm hoping he hasn't killed anyone lately, or at least manages to abstain from killing anyone for at least a month, because I would like to fly out and see him sometime after Christmas. After all, the Snowman needs his Jiminy Cricket. I hope that you got to go see him, OP, quite sincerely. I would like to say that this whole tale is larger than life and I can't possibly start to believe it, but I couldn't make anything like that up. Could you make all of that up? This is like unreasonably creative to just pop out of somebody's head. I got so much respect for Snowman. He's like a demigod. He's a living legend. He is larger than life. And I gotta hear more about him. So yeah, we will be revisiting him at some point in the future, I am sure. Dude has had a hard life, but he did his time, you know? He's trying to build a better life, build himself back up, working at a Target. Even after a fight on the train, he shows up. He's like, yeah, I gotta go make this money. I don't know. Oh my God. Hercules incarnate. Beating up 3 gangsters? Yeah, that was part of one of the labors of Hercules, I'm pretty sure. What an epic tale. And it's such a feel-good story because really it's just about the fist of karma choking a kid out. I mean, he is a kid. I do feel kind of bad about that part, but you picked a fight that you couldn't win, even if you didn't know that you couldn't win it. Did they learn anything? I don't know, probably not, but it definitely makes for a hell of a story, and I'm so glad that I picked this one up. I love Blood for Oil. I love listening to Rasputin and Mujahideen just pecking each other to death, but Snowman, boy, he is on another level. It's just so good. And then Snowman has a new pair of shoes because you won't need them to walk on the sky. Good God, he really is just a maniac, isn't he? Walking around suplexing people. Snow in my house. Snowman disarms a drug dealer at his house party. Oh, Snowman, how we've missed you and your wild and crazy antics. I don't know why you got a drug dealer with a gun at your house party. I'm cool with drug dealers, but it's mostly just the weed man, you know? And usually he doesn't carry a gun. He's like, okay, we're cool. You want to rob me? Okay, I guess I'm growing some more back at the house. That's fine. Enjoy it. I just ain't gonna sell to you ever again. Oh, hi there. Hi, Witchfinger 84. Nice to meet you. Hostages? No, it's all voluntary, isn't it? Isn't it? If you're new here, you'll want to read the first tale of Snowman the Mega Chad that you'd mistake for a neckbeard right over here. Yeah, playlist down in the description, etc., etc. This is another adventure of Snowman the Mega Chad disguised as a beardo. We gotta shorten that name up. As selected by the commenters in the last thread. Some Snowman stories are as short as they are violent, and there is a couple of reasons for this. The first is that, as Jiminy Cricket, I wasn't around when Snowman did wacky maniac felon type of shit, partially because I didn't want to be around that behavior, and partially because Snowman also didn't want me around that kind of behavior. Did Pinocchio and Jiminy Cricket get separated in the movie all that much? I don't recall 100%. I do know they were separated at least a little bit at one point, and that must have been when all the felon things went down. Snowman needed Jiminy Cricket to stay on the right side of the law, because yeah, most of his buddies were fuck-ups like him that had trouble making it in society with the burdens of their bad decisions weighing down on them. After all, we weren't useful to each other if we were both maniac screw-ups. Yeah, we gotta have one guy that's, you know, buddy-buddy with Johnny Law. We can't both go to jail. So a lot of times I'd give him a ride to work or back home, and he'd tell me a story that was basically just a 2-sentence legacy of violence. Is he the strong, silent type? He's definitely strong. He seems silent as well. They were bangers like, "Some dude on the block threw a bottle at me while I was walking my dog. I took him feet to Jesus. Some guy was talking shit at a party last night. He went feet to Jesus. This guy didn't like the way I was talking to his girl, so I made her my girl by taking him feet to Jesus." The last one, I can't agree with that. That's Snowman being a piece of shit, but, you know, he's a maniac felon, so what do I really expect? Sometimes he gets a little bit out of line. And honestly, I thought feet to Jesus was something different, you know? You know, like ladies going feet to Jesus. That's a different kind of thing, isn't it? So yeah, feet to Jesus is a common theme in Snowman stories, if you couldn't tell. It's actually kind of odd that there was no feet to Jesus in Snowman on a train, but that seems to be the exception and not the rule. Yeah, it's hard to go feet to Jesus on a bus. Like, you punch them and knock them out, and basically they just end up sitting down in a bus seat. Maybe their head slumped against the window or something like that. So, what is feet to Jesus? It is a suplex, the tombstone pile driver. Your feet go up, your head goes down, you kiss the concrete, and then Snowman has a new pair of shoes because you won't need them to walk on the sky. Good God, he really is just a fucking maniac, isn't he? Walking around suplexing people. I laugh, but yeah, that's not a good thing to do. You can kill somebody pretty easy with a suplex. Honestly, you spend a lot of time contemplating religion when a chubby white dude with sweaty mop of curls on his head unties you like a shoelace and teaches you how to dance upside down on thin air. So, knowing all that, rest assured, someone is probably going feet to Jesus in this story. The more we get to know him, like, I start to like him a little bit less. Maybe he'll transform from Arnie into a neckbeard, just because he is trying to swoop people's girls by being a big tough guy and shit like that. Like they say, you know, never meet your heroes. People that hang out with Ramtide or myself for too long generally go, wow, they aren't as cool as they seem in one-off YouTube videos. And yeah, that's just a fact. You follow Jim Carrey on Twitter and you're like, wow, he's got some wacky views. I still like his movies, but his views are sort of wacky, ain't they? Anyways. Now at the time, Snowman was living in a place that we'll call the Shoot House in Carson, off of Normandy Avenue. For those who don't live in the Hell A area and don't know anything about Normandy, I'll explain it to you like this. On one side of the street offered a picturesque view of some very lovely train tracks and razor wire fencing surrounding a construction equipment rental yard. The other side of the street was places like the Shoot House. Down the street was a very classy liquor store and a barely classy strip club. Where's the check into cash place? We need a check cashing place, and then this whole scene will be rounded out. Maybe throw in a 99-cent store. I do think it's convenient that the liquor store is next to the strip club, though. So what is a shoot house? Well, shoot houses are rundown dumps when the owner goes in and paints every room a different color and themes the decor differently so he can use every room like a different set to, you guessed it, shoot pornography. Oh, I was thinking like Flophouse, you know, people go in there and just do heroin. But yeah, that's slightly classier, I guess. At least we're taking money out of the shoot house instead of putting it into our arms, right? Baby steps. Baby steps. Snowman's roommates at the time were a lesbian couple and their son, who were retired pornographers and fetish models. So I imagine that's how they got the shoot house rental. The kid was into all this? How old's the kid? I don't think this is a good home environment. Mom quit the adult business when she had her kid, but years later, once the little spawn was old enough to be left alone for a decent amount of time, she opened up a catering business that specialized in catering bondage balls and fetish events. I really thought she had like a catering business. I'm like, oh, she's making cake pops now. That's wholesome. No, that's not the case. As you can imagine, it's a pretty good niche to fill, because I'm pretty sure the Cheesecake Factory isn't really the best place to serve finger foods to gimps and leather daddies. I see. So it is catering food, they just do special events. I'm not sure if I can call it wholesome, but you're moving in the right direction. Everything's fine here, I'm pretty sure. At the end of the day, you go with what you know, and Mom knew two things: fetish photography and cooking. So the Kinkster roomies were pretty cool, and they liked having Snowman around because he could do stuff like open peanut butter jars. I sent that peanut butter jar feet to Jesus. He also moved furniture around and was a positive male role model for their young son, whom he got along with really good. I don't think he's really that positive of a male role model, but I guess it's the closest thing that the kid gets. So, sure, why not? Snowman's actually pretty great with kids. He even made one once, but it died in a car accident. Jesus Christ. This guy has so much tragic backstory that his own child dying in a car accident is a footnote. God damn. All of a sudden the laughing stops. That hurts. As you can imagine, the shoot house was an absolute cast of characters. Between Snowman knowing a bunch of gangsters and drug dealers, and the Kinksters knowing all the dominatrixes and freaks, there was always somebody interesting rolling through the shoot house. It was basically a microcosm of the entertainment triangle: porn people, convicts, and Hollywood wackos. That's basically how the industry works. Yeah, welcome to LA. God, I was so glad to get up and out, let me tell you that. If you think they sound like interesting people to hang around with, you won't think that after you get stabbed in the back by them 5 or 6 times. This is why I have a trust no one mindset, you see. Anyways, the big shot Hollywood people invited the porn people to their parties because Hollywood big shots won't show up to any party that isn't full of starfuckers and models, and convicts do all the work because most on-set work is really fucking hard, and nobody who has any better options would ever do it. So, you meet a lot of forklift operators with great stories about jail. The entire entertainment industry is basically LGBT, fresh out of prison, operates heavy machinery, and is on OnlyFans. Pick 2. Jesus. I guess my experience in the entertainment industry was a little bit different, mostly because it was NIFA, you know, so you had students instead of convicts, and those students were fresh-faced, man. They wanted to work so hard, bro. And then after 1 month of shooting, they're basically broken and leave the industry forever. That's kind of what happened to me too. Even as an editor, I didn't have to do any heavy lifting, but I'm like, yeah, I don't think this is for me. Ahem. Moving on. One day, some of Snowman's grimy friends were over at the shoot house smoking blunts and drinking 40s, as grimy friends are wont to do. I used to be one of them's. Probably not as crimey, but definitely grimy. I personally was not invited to this get-together because, as I explained earlier, Jiminy Cricket stays clean, and there may or may not have been commerce of an allegedly less than legal nature taking place in that space. In euphoric Neckbeard voice, but you can't objectively prove that. Honestly, go around, ask all of those people for their medical weed cards. I bet you money that one of them is missing it, all right? Is that the less than legal thing that we're talking about? Or is there something even worse than that? I am curious. Now, on this day, Kmart was in the building. Oh, big old Kmart, let me tell you. The hell they call him Kmart for? Kmart was a big, half Samoan drug dealer that Snowman and I had both known from a young age. I actually went to elementary school with Kmart before he grew up and became a dealer. You gotta do what you gotta do, I suppose. But hopefully you use the money that you make from dealing to get up and out, and then you don't have to do it anymore. I had one dealer that did exactly that, and I was super proud of her. And then I had another dealer before the one that got up and out, and yeah, he basically crashed and burned. Kept trying to do it bigger and better and ended up going to jail for a very long time. Did you know LSD is like a really, really bad felony? If it was just weed, it'd probably be all right. But yeah, you can't screw with acid and expect to stay a free man. Anyways, I knew him pretty well because Kmart and I were both problem children with behavioral issues in class, and the teachers often bundled us up and shipped us off to the school counselor in group sessions. Back then, the logic was that if you put a couple of fuck-up kids together, maybe they'd be friends, and the two wrongs could make a right. What the hell kind of math is that, dude? No, they're just gonna team up. This school's stupid as hell. This was in the early 90s. The Columbine school shooting didn't happen until 99. We didn't say kids were on the spectrum or had Asperger's or any of that stuff yet. They didn't think twice about just bundling up all the dipshit kids with attitude problems and putting them in one room. Yes, indeed, I was one of those dipshit kids, I'm pretty sure. I got sent to a couple of different schools because of my attitude problem, and guess what? Nothing's really changed. Just nobody can't tell me nothing no more. Nowadays, I would call that a recipe for disaster because as a former fuck-up kid, I think corralling all of the kids together where they can trade notes and discuss prego rape hentai and guns and other school shooter shit, yeah, it's a pretty bad idea. Anyone with half a brain could tell you that. Oh, the bad kids act worse in order to impress the other bad kids who are also acting worse. And the cycle continues. This is basic. Did these school administrators honestly think this was gonna work? Or they just didn't care? I'm gonna lean on they just didn't care because it's such a bad idea. I don't understand how anybody could have it and legitimately go, yeah, that's gonna work, let's try it out. But that was what they did back then. So me and Kmart were pulled out of class every couple of weeks to go and talk to the school counselor about socializing and playing nice and not becoming murderous drug dealer menaces to society when we grew up. Which I guess only worked for one of us. That's called foreshadowing. I'm glad you didn't fall into the hole with this kid, OP. It probably would have been pretty easy to do, but you picked the right path, and I'm proud of you. Anyway, Snowman, Kmart, and I went way back, but once he became a bad dude, I didn't really hang out with Kmart a lot because I was Jiminy Cricket. I'm saying this right now, Snowman was also not Kmart's biggest fan. You know how after high school, sometimes you have friends that are kind of grandfathered into your social circle and stick around because they've got tenure. But if they were someone that you met as an adult, you probably wouldn't tolerate that behavior. You'd be like, look, dude, you get a little bit of credit because we used to play Super Nintendo and cheat off each other's homework, but you are on thin ice. Honestly, I don't have any of those. I don't obey that social contract. I scrape them off. I cut them out. Instant. Don't even think twice about it. I ain't wasting my time. But this is what Snowman and Kmart were like. The truth was, Snowman didn't even really like Kmart because Snowman felt like every time Kmart came around to party, He always got a little too wild and a little too rowdy, and Snowman always had to tune him back down with his knuckles. You'd think that he'd learn a lesson after a couple times, but yeah, some people just never do. Regardless of what you think about Snowman's home life, he was smart and compassionate enough to know that beating up a drug dealer in his living room every weekend wasn't really a good look for the kid in the house. So after a chain of events like this, he stopped inviting Kmart over. Oh, look at this. Everybody's learning. I like how we're all concerned about the kid. Like, you know, living in a pornography house, that's totally fine. But oh, God forbid he sees a drug dealer get beat up a couple times. Come on, bro. This kid is screwed either way. I hate to just write it off like that. But he needs a lot more help than just not beating up a drug dealer is going to provide. It's so ludicrous. The straw that broke the camel's back was the time that Kmart came over, got a little too frisky, and started flashing his piece around. Yes, he had a gun. Yes, it was loaded. And yes, he was waving it around in a drunk and or high state. Yeah, that's definitely a bad look. Never point a gun at anything that you aren't willing to say goodbye to. And waving it around the room, yeah, everybody is in danger right now. I'm pretty sure they all realize that, but luckily Snowman is the one that steps up and does something about it. I understand you're a big Samoan drug dealer with a gun, but I've been shot in the gut 3 times and I still stomped that dude out. So here we go, feet to Jesus. As I mentioned in our first story, Snowman is not only not afraid of guns at all, but he has in fact bet his fists against a gun and won. Yeah, I seen it. Not seen it, but I read it. He decided that day that a half-wasted drug dealer waving his piece around was not the kind of environment that he wanted himself and his roommates to be in. So what happened next? Remember what I told you about the 2-sentence legacy of violence? Sentence 1, he took Kmart's gun right out of his hand. Sentence 2, Kmart went feet to Jesus. So I guess the thumbnail is a little bit wrong on this video. I try not to read the whole story and spoil it for myself before we get to the thumbnail art. I assume dude just got like slammed in the mouth or something like that. I mean, Darkly could probably animate a suplex. We'll do that in the next Snowman story. I mean, if someone does go feet to Jesus, and I suspect that they will. It's just kind of how it goes. After that, Kmart didn't come around the shoot house so much anymore. Yeah, because he's paralyzed from the neck down. The shoot house is not wheelchair accessible. Oh, God damn it. And now for the thrilling conclusion. Nobody actually lives in the shoot house anymore. Snowman went east to Colorado, where he is now, and the BDSM caterers moved to, shit. Can't even remember off the top of my head. I don't keep up with them that much anymore. And Kmart, well, whenever you're ready, scroll down. Just be warned that I don't recommend it. Asking about what happened to Kmart is not so healthy for your peace of mind. As long as he didn't get brain cancer or something like that, I guess I won't feel too bad. It's not surprising to me that nobody lives in the shoot house anymore. Why was anybody living in there to begin with? Whatever happened to the kid? The BDSM caterer's kids? That's what I want to know about. Is he okay? Did he grow up relatively normal? Please confirm or deny. I guess OP doesn't know if he doesn't even know where they moved to. But anyways, yeah, what happened to Kmart? Let us know. You just had to find out, didn't you? Kmart is currently serving 286 to life for rape and murder. Jesus Christ! No, I don't feel bad that happened to him, But OP didn't say that I would feel bad. He just said that it's not healthy for my peace of mind. And yeah, I guess that is an accurate statement. I really wish that that didn't happen. Honestly, I'm really surprised that he didn't get locked up like 3 times before that happened, because I think California is still a 3-strike state, at least as far as my brother is concerned. He's doing 40 to life. He didn't kill nobody. It was kind of just a drug-induced accident that happened. It was violent. It did involve a gun, but it was an accident. So yeah, definitely a shame for whoever, lost their life. That is really horrible, really brutal, and Kmart should pay for his crimes. Unfortunately, most people go to jail and find a clique to run with, and then they decide that that's just their life now, especially if you're doing life or an exceedingly long time. They're just like, okay, I am in jail, but I figured out how to make it a good time. If you're doing a few months in jail, then people wouldn't get so settled into it. But then we wouldn't have the prison industrial complex making money hand over fist, I guess. So whatever, that's a rant for another video. I am glad that Kmart got locked up, and I'm glad that Snowman took care of that situation. Really, I do see a little bit of douchebaggery shining through regarding Snowman, but I don't know, we got a couple more stories. He might redeem himself. I will try to reserve my judgment until then.
And I thought to myself, if my Christmas has to be ruined, why shouldn't everyone else's?
What's this?
It's cold.
What? No.
Snowmalady and Coleman. A Snowman double feature Christmas special. What you doing? Christmas is over. Oh, I'm late. I'm 3 months late picking this story up. All right, my bad then. I'm interested to hear about Snowmalady. Coleman probably seems like the opposite of Snowman, right? I guess we'll see what's going on here. Buckle up, kids, because it's a winter wonderland on Reddit. And you know what that means. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been feet to Jesus. So be good, for goodness sake. And not just for the sake of goodness, but also for the sake of not ending up feet to Jesus yourself, right? That's how that goes. It's time for Snowman's Merry Christmas double feature. 2 stories of violence, crime, and punishment, and of course, people getting hurt very badly. Mostly people that deserve it, though. Mostly. I mean, yeah, he's just kind of a maniac psychopath. Sometimes there's collateral damage. I don't know what to tell you. I'll try not to laugh at it, but I can't make any promises, really. If this is your first rodeo with Snowman, you should check out the playlist in the description. But also, here's a short description. Snowman is a professional level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu athlete, former child actor, ex-con, brain cancer survivor, car crash survivor, shooting victim, stabbing victim, ex-junkie, and general whirlwind of destruction. Well, you summed that up pretty good, didn't you? Here's some links to some shit, I don't know. Yeah, them's our previous stories. Like I said, playlist in the description. Or you could go, look up the actual link. But why would you do that when I read the whole story for you? Maybe you just don't like me interrupting and stuff, and if that's the case, well, excuse me, princess.
Well, excuse me, princess.
Now, there are 2 memes in every Snowman thread. The first is,
Feet to Jesus!
what does that mean? Well, it's what Snowman calls a suplex. He picks you up, your feet go in the air, and you try to walk on the sky. And your head goes into the warm and delicious embrace of some fine gourmet concrete. Many stories that Snowman tells end with someone going feet to Jesus, and not in the fun way. I used to think that feet to Jesus was like your legs up in the air for some sort of other physical activity, if you read me. But yeah, I guess it could have multiple meanings. Why not? The second meme is the 2-sentence legacy of violence. The 2-sentence legacy of violence is basically how Snowman talks. He's not the most verbose or prosy person, and while he knows more about wrestling and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu than just about anyone, he is a man of few words. Most Snowman stories told directly from the Snowman himself sound like this. Sentence 1.
That guy did something.
Sentence 2.
That guy went feet to Jesus.
I mean, feet to Jesus can be substituted with any other suitably violent action. Like in the first story, nobody went feet to Jesus. He was just the Oprah Winfrey of head trauma. You get a concussion. Oh, everybody gets a concussion. I like that a lot. So far out of the 5 or 6 examples given, there's only one where I could be like, I don't know if I could sign off on that. Overall, I see Snowman as the arbiter of justice, the deliverer of karma. And I suppose we'll see if that holds true in today's story. So, without further ado, here is our next story, chosen by the thread commenters. Snowmalady, Snowman's tale of gallant chivalry and plate glass windows. Oh, God. He's not beating up chicks, right? Tell me he's not beating up chicks. Snowman wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do that. Maybe. I don't know. Once upon a time, Snowman was at a house party, as he often was. Now, as a broke-ass child actor, felon, and professional fighter, Snowman's circle of friends was, very colorful. It included some interesting people that are good to know, and it also included some interesting people that are, currently in prison. One example being Kmart from the last story, and the comments actually looked up the news article that Witchfinger sent me via Discord, and yes, this is all confirmed, at least that part. But yes, as we were saying, Snowman knew everyone. From people who would beat the living shit out of you if someone gave them $300, to people whom you would pay $300 to beat the living shit out of you while they were wearing latex. Yeah, I suppose I know what that means. No kink shame, but no kink same, all right? Sometimes alcohol, Mary Jane Juana, and Coca-Cola didn't mix so well with these people, and when that happened, a Snowman party usually ended with a feet to Jesus incident. Put him through a plate glass window, there you go. That settled you down some, didn't it? At one of these parties, once upon a time, Snowman ran into a fellow who seemed to be having a disagreement with his girlfriend, and this disagreement was taking a violent and physical turn. There was some shouting, some smacking around, and a giant steaming pile of domestic abuse with a dollop of Cool Whip and a cherry on top. Hey, listen to me, OP, ain't nothing cool about that. Give me the whipped cream, give me the cherry. I'ma eat them both so nobody gets confused, all right? Snowman did not like this one bit, nor does anybody, I'm pretty sure. You see a woman getting beat on, I hope that you would step in, especially if you are as equipped to step in as Snowman is. At heart, Snowman is a pretty chivalrous guy. He doesn't like to date women that he spars with in co-ed Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu sessions, and he doesn't spar with the women that he's dating. Co-ed Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu sessions? Okay, I guess. I mean, they signed up, you know? They wanted to be there. The women that you date, yeah, they're not looking to get hit. They're just looking for some love and affection. Treat your queens like queens. That's all I'm saying. His hands are rated E for everyone. So any man or woman alive can catch him if they mouth off, and he is into some absolutely kinky, degenerate shit. Basically, there's 100 reasons why Snowman might hit a woman, but they are all reasons on a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu mat or a fetish playroom. And in either case, they will have consented for that. So, okay, Snowman, I'm gonna give you a pass on all that, all right? Like he gives a shit if I give him a pass or not. He's like, whatever, I don't need your pass. I put your feet to Jesus. Please don't, I'm too old. I can't do it anymore. Snowman obviously does not like dudes who beat up girls that don't consent to it. He don't like that one bit. A few years ago, when Bellator mixed martial artist War Machine beat up his girlfriend, ex-porn star Christie Mack, Snowman was furious. Was that John Copenhaver? I saw all that covered on Jim Can't Swim, I'm pretty sure. I was doing some research for like how to make a good police interview video so that I could, mix up the content over on Dayton Dies. A little bit of serial killer / creepypasta / cryptid stuff, And yes, I spent an hour watching John Copenhaver rant about a Slurpee. I wanted a fucking Slurpee.
Dude, I've been craving a fucking Slurpee since last night. I want a Slurpee. I want a fucking Slurpee.
He's a maniac. Snowman used to train with War Machine on occasion, and he knew Christie through War Machine and through mutual friends in the sex industry, and he told me about the War Machine case.
Christie Mack is the kindest woman I've ever met. If War Machine ever gets out of prison, I will fucking kill him myself.
I don't think he's gonna get out of prison, so... But maybe Snowman would end up eventually inside the same prison as War Machine. It's like a super top secret infiltration mission. Except, once you kill the dude, you gotta spend the rest of your life on the mission. It's probably not the best plan, come to think of it. I would like to say that, yeah, War Machine, Snowman, they're both maniacs, 2 peas in a pod, but apparently Snowman draws some lines that War Machine doesn't. So I gotta give him a tip of my hat, not a fedora. Everybody hates John Copenhaver at this point, I'm pretty sure. Snowman doesn't like guys who hit women. He is the most gallant crusader. Yeah, this is the kind of white knight that really doesn't fuck around. See, to be a white knight, you gotta be a warrior, and Snowman's got that down to a T. The difference between him and your average neckbeard that rushes to the defense of Milady's honor is that a neckbeard is just a weird manipulator with fists like wet noodles that thinks that every other male in the dating pool that's better looking than him is just an abusive fuck around. Snowman, on the other hand, is a fuel-injected turbo chad that shits bricks and pisses protein shakes, and he will turn you upside down like a broomstick and mop a concrete floor with your head. You don't need to mop a concrete floor. Oh. I see what's happening here. OP definitely got like a crush on this dude, but I can't blame him, honestly. From story 1, I kind of had my own crush on him. Beard on the outside, Chad on the inside is not something that we've seen often, but I'm glad we got to see it eventually. So there was Snowman at a house party, and at this house there was a nice backyard patio and a pool, and in this lovely kitchen there was a sliding door plate glass window with a lovely view of the backyard. You want to get a closer look? Well, everyone out on the patio was having a good time, except for this one couple that was in a heated argument. They went back into the kitchen to have it out. It was probably just a lover's quarrel that resulted from having a little too much fun with the alcohol and the wacky tobacco, but it did escalate and become physical. Duder McPunchface struck that girl, and apparently Snowman saw it, and apparently he was very not okay with that. Snowman was no stranger to domestic disturbance. He once broke up with a girlfriend on my porch at 3 a.m. because he was crashing on my couch and he didn't like her attitude, and he was afraid that her antics might disturb my family. He told her,
"We can't be dramatic here. We can't have this argument here. I'm a guest in this house, and I can't bring that in here. If you can't calm down, we're done. Because if this is how you act, I am through."
I mean, he's such a respectful dude. You'd be kind of shocked if you learned that this respectful man, who is also a good house guest, ends up like throwing a dude through a plate glass window. It's quite a dichotomy, a showcase of the duality of man, if you will. God damn. So, despite the fact that Snowman knew just about everything about smacking the shit out of people, he was also deceptively good at not needing to smack the shit out of people when it was appropriate. He can't be in prison his entire life, after all. I mean, I say that, but he could prove me wrong. Stay on the streets for just a little bit, Snowman. The world needs you to hand out life lessons. But only to people who deserve it. And it seems to me like this guy deserved it. As long as that dude didn't get physical, Snowman figured it was just a blame it on the alcohol kind of thing, and he decided that it was not his monkeys, not his circus. Well, all that changed when Homeboy put his hands on that girl. The weather pattern shifted. The forecast was predicting snow.
Ice to meet you.
Who's ready for a signature Snowman 2-sentence legacy of violence? He hit the girl, so Snowman threw him through a plate glass window. And after that little life lesson, do you think that he ever hit that girl again? Well, probably not in public. I hope they broke up, because once the hitting starts, it's never gonna stop. You know what I'm saying? This is a bad situation for that little girl to be in. And it also adds an ounce of class that, you know, Snowman didn't try to go over there and pick up the pieces and be like, come with me, lady, etc., etc. He just taught the dude a lesson, walked away. You guys work it out. Hopefully that means break it up, because it is going to happen again at a future date. I'm pretty sure. Alcohol doesn't make you into a different person. It just opens up the parts that you wouldn't normally show to other people. It's not good. This has probably happened many times before this incident. I do worry about that girl. I hope she got up and out. That's what I take from the story. And I'm glad that Snowman was there to handle business. I do hope that dude got pretty fucked up. Anyways, end of story 1. Now we are into Coal Man. Snowman ruins Christmas. A Snowman Christmas special. I think this is what I based the thumbnail on. So I guess we'll see. Here's a prelude to the life of Snowman. A story he once told me from his childhood. Back when he was just a wee snowball child actor. Even before Snowman ever did drugs, or went to prison, or got into fatal car crashes, or had brain cancer. He was just an absolute human disaster area. Everything that happened to him afterwards was just one more thing to give him an excuse to take someone's feet to Jesus. Poor little guy. Parents stole all his money. I mean, he did have some good luck, you know, becoming a child actor, but it's really hard to do that properly. Do you know any child actors that grow up to become well-adjusted people? I certainly don't. Eventually, they might make it to the other side, you know, Macaulay Culkin being the foremost example. But yeah, you're gonna go through a rough road before you're able to have like a normal adulthood, I'm pretty sure. And it seems like Snowman was never able to have a normal adulthood. I feel sort of bad for him, but the other side of me says that he's on the path that he needs to take. Anyways, this is a cautionary tale for parents and teachers. Another fantastic piece of proof in the psychological litany of negative reinforcement does not work. God, ain't that the truth? Positive reinforcement does work, but they got to do something good for me to positively reinforce. So how does that supposed to go? I don't know. I'm not a great parent. So while I know that negative reinforcement doesn't work, I'm just going to try it a few more times. Get a timeout. Once upon a time, as a wee lad, the Snow family was gathered around the tree on Christmas morning, making merry, opening presents, everyone having a good old Norman Rockwell American family Christmas time. Did Snowman pay for all this as a wee child actor? I'm pretty sure he did. The parents are like, here you go, I bought you a present with your money. Great, thanks so much. There was just one problem. Uh-oh. Snowman had been bad that year. Jesus, so you didn't even buy him a present with his money? That's fucked up. I have no idea what kind of crime or bad behavior a small child gets into that is worthy of actually missing Christmas. But at this time, Snowball had done exactly that. Bro, I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be like just a threat. To actually do it? Yeah, that's pretty messed up, man. I can't sign off on that. It's hard to imagine what this kid possibly could have done to actually deserve it, knowing that he grew up to steal cop cars and throw people out of windows and beat people up in gunfights. And just generally do everything a human being can do to another human being short of murder. Allegedly. But whatever he had done, Snowball was on the naughty list that year, and he did not get any presents. God, that's so messed up of his parents to do. In order to actually pull that card and use it, he had to have done something heinous, right? Are his parents just total dicks or what? So yeah, he didn't get any presents. And by that, I mean Snowman's brother got a full Christmas spread of presents to open, and Snowmom literally took a lump of coal, gift wrapped it, and gave it to Snowball. She committed to the meme. And did the whole coal in your stocking folklore to punish our little Snowball for his bad behavior. God, Snowmom, you's a bitch. That's not cool. Come on, he's gonna do better next year, right? Give him at least a little something. He waited the whole year for this one day. What kind of naughty stuff can a child really get into that deserves them not getting presents? Unless it's like a felony offense, you know what? I'm gonna let it slide. Santa has a big heart. He knows how to forgive because he's friends with Jesus. Ain't that right? Now, personally, I'm certain there's 100 good reasons to take away a misbehaving child's Christmas gifts. No. You and I differ on that, I guess. Then again, I haven't ever had like a really out of control child. Usually the threat of taking away the Christmas gifts is enough for the child to step back in line, right? OP says, you gotta learn consequences somehow. But from where I'm standing, taking away a child's whole Christmas and forcing them to sit there while all of their siblings have a Merry Christmas, that is insult to injury. And frankly, the only thing that's gonna come from that is a deep and toxic seed of resentment that will bloom into an ugly, poison-spewing 1995 Command and Conquer Tiberium tree. That's a deep cut. But you're right, though. You could cancel Christmas like altogether, be like, okay, nobody gets presents then. But to single one kid out, I think we learned in Warbeard that that's definitely not the way to go. That kid is gonna hate you forever, and you probably deserve it, Snowmom. And that is exactly what happened. Snowman was always a straight gangster, even when he was just a little Snowball. The boy ain't right. Whoa! Snowball ripped open his present and looked inside the box. There was a lump of coal in it. A literal, honest to God, actual Christmas lump of naughty list coal. Snowmom must have thought that she was so clever. I don't know if she went and got a literal chunk of coal or if it was just like a charcoal briquette out of a barbecue bag. But she actually gave the kid a gift-wrapped lump of naughty coal. It's so awful, dude. Why would you do this to your own child? And a child that is helping to provide for the family, no less? No wonder he's got anger in his heart. Snowman's heart shrunk 3 sizes this day. I'm pretty sure. Meanwhile, Snowman's brother, sitting 5 feet away, was opening slot car tracks and remote control cars and Ninja Turtles, whatever 80s babies got for Christmas. Cabbage Patch Kids? I just know there was a big run on Cabbage Patch Kids one year. Well, to hear Snowman explain it, it's pretty fucking hilarious because it is absolutely one of the most gangster things I have ever heard in my life.
Well, he was sitting there, opening his presents, having a Merry Christmas, and I thought to myself, if my Christmas has to be ruined, why shouldn't everyone else's?
What's this?
It's cold.
What? No.
He is gangster as hell, though. Snowman figured he was in for a penny, in for a pound. If you're gonna get the sentence, you might as well make the crime worth it. It's sound logic if you ask me. Am I guilty? Bitch, I might be. Bitch, I might be.
Bitch, I might be. Bitch, I might be. Bitch, I might be.
Is that a reference to a Gucci Mane song? God damn it. So Snowman picked up the lump of coal, cocked his arm back, and beamed his brother right in the skull with the naughty coal. Right there, in front of the whole family, sitting next to the Christmas tree on Christmas morning. Merry Christmas. I mean, I hope that it was a charcoal briquette if he's gonna hit somebody in the head with it. Like an actual lump of coal, yeah, that's heavy. His brother could be like, you know, just a little bit concussed. So I guess his legacy as the Oprah Winfrey of head trauma started young. Scroll down though for the run back. Oh yeah, of course. Sibling rivalry karma would eventually punish Snowman. He has a BB lodged in his cheek to this day from the time that his brother shot him in the face with a pellet gun. Gorgeous, wonderful, lovely. And again, I side with Snowman for both of these stories. You reap what you sow. You know, you want to hit your girlfriend? All right, you get thrown through a window. You want to take away only one of your children's Christmas? Then yeah, of course he's going to be pissed off about it. And yeah, I mean, sibling rivalry is a thing. Me and my brother used to battle all the time. But there were also a lot of times that we would, you know, team up in order to get something done. Us versus parents, that sort of thing. So I guess it's maybe smart of the parents to divide and conquer, that sort of thing. Though I do hate to say that. Ideally, the whole household should be united, no? Everybody sit down, everybody enjoy a Christmas. We can deal with your bad behavior a bit further down the road, right? Though I don't know if that tactic would have worked because people choose what they choose. You know what I'm saying? My brother had a lot of negative reinforcement tried on him. He also had a lot of positive reinforcement tried on him. And he continued to pick the same thing until he ended up with a life sentence in prison. Which really sucks because, you know, he was my number 2. He was my bro. And we'll never be able to kick it again, at least not until he's like, you know, 50 or 60. It really cuts me up inside when I talk about it too much. But I'm glad Snowman's prison sentences weren't too long. I think he is in California, which is a 3-strike state, so maybe it's a little sus that he keeps getting convicted and out on the streets again. Although they might have changed that's 3 strikes rule, which is dumb as hell. Then they should cut my brother's sentence, right? I don't know, man. Getting me kind of off topic. I definitely do enjoy the Snowman stories. We've got one more to go, and I'm going to savor it for show. But I do hope that there will be more Snowman stories coming down the road because he's just like a mythological creature. I don't know from whence he spawned, but I'm quite glad that he spawned, found his way to the channel, and I get to share his tales with all of you. To put it in Snowman's words,
It was unlocked and idling, practically begging me to steal it.
I'm a cop! What in name are you doing?
Hello friends and welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily cringe content anywhere on the internet. Promise, swearsies, it's just a fact and it's totally science. Go ahead and look it up. Thank you so much. Today we're jumping into r/Neckbeard stories, I think it is. We're gonna go ahead and see what is up with Snowman. This is actually the final Snowman story that Witchfinger has posted, although I think maybe he's working on some more. I do have pretty good contact with him on Discord, so I'll have to ask before I slap a compilation together or anything like that. I think that he's gonna go and visit the dude in the coming months, and maybe we'll even get the reveal of like who this dude actually is, like a name. Jonathan Lipnicki has been thrown around a lot, but Witchfinger said that it's like more of a commercial actor. He didn't do any movies and stuff like that, so he might be just a bit harder to find. I do know that at least the events in the story are true, at least what happened with Kmart, because that was documented heavily by the news. So yes, I'm still believing in the magic of Snowman, and I hope you are too, friends. Let's go ahead, we'll get some plugs and disclaimers out of the way, and then we will dive right into some of this Neckbeard stories, a cringe. Fun times in prison with Snowman. Fun times in prison. I mean, I guess, you know, you gotta have some sort of fun in prison, but overall, it's not a very fun place to be. And I speak from experience. And I was in like a nice prison. It wasn't even a real prison. It was just the Navy brig. They fed you good food. Everybody's pretty cool about it. We're all in the same service. So yeah. We got along, but a real prison? Bruh, I don't ever want to go. Please and thank you. Anyways, welcome back, weather watchers. Oh, I like that. To another avalanche from the Snowman. Ooh, Witchfinger's on brand today. Today, I'll be collecting some of Snowman's fun times behind bars, and we'll learn the origin story of how Snowman went to prison. I mean, didn't he go to prison like multiple times? Is this just like one of the times that he went to prison, or are we covering the whole amalgamation, the every single time he went? I don't know, whatever. I guess we'll have to see. If you are new to the Snowman saga, there's a playlist in the description, but here is the short version. Snowman is an ex-con, professional Brazilian jiu-jitsu athlete, and former child actor that used to look like a neckbeard, but is actually an unstoppable Skynet T-1000 Mega Chad. I say used to look like a neckbeard because in the past year, he was actually in a coma for 6 months and he lost a bunch of weight while on a feeding tube. He used to look like a cracked out Jonah Hill. Now he looks like a skinny cracked out Jonah Hill. Leave Jonah Hill alone. I mean, as a person, he's pretty insufferable, but his career path is something to behold. Started out as like sidekick funny man and progressed into like serious roles. I mean, still kind of sidekick roles, but he's doing big things. I think we should all take a page out of Jonah Hill's book as far as the hustle goes. Again, personality? No. You leave that page in the book. But hustling, I gotta respect that. Snowman's favorite move is the suplex, or as we call it in snow country, a feat to Jesus. And as I've said before, I thought that was something completely different. You know, somebody's got their feet to Jesus and they're going, oh God, it's a special time of worship. Snowman has been hurt, and been hurt by a lot of people in his life. He's survived car crashes, drug addiction, being a child actor, prison, gunshots, stab wounds, sibling rivalry, a coma, brain surgery, and did I mention prison? I like how sibling rivalry was just thrown in there. One of these things is not like the other.
One of these things is not like the others.
I survived sibling rivalry. That ain't nothing to write home about. But all that other stuff, yeah, I don't know what any of that is like. And I do thank God for at least that much. Snowman has had a rough road, and I can't say that it's all his fault completely. I'm sure he made some bad choices, but honestly, child actors are sort of set up to fail. But I guess that's a tangent for another day. Oh yeah, I did definitely mention prison, so let's talk about prison. Today we're gonna talk about fun times in prison with Snowman. Oh, Snowman, you're going to the big show. It is quite unfortunate, and the prison system in America is one of the most unfortunate things ever. People as a commodity and stuff like that. But again, another tangent for another day. I'm not gonna get into all that. This is just fun times in prison with Snowman. Once upon a time, as a reckless, dumb young man, Snowman went to prison for aggravated assault. Now, this story is actually kind of tragic because it involves a terrible betrayal. Oh, you betray Snowman, you gotta go feed to Jesus. And not in the fun way. However, Snowman definitely did do the crime, and he also definitely did have to do the time. I'm not saying he didn't deserve to be in prison for this, because he definitely did, but the circumstances of it all are admittedly pretty fucked up. It does happen, man. It ain't too fun. Sometimes accidents or whatever, little bit of that street justice, but yeah, if you get caught, then you gotta go away. That's why I don't bother doing street justice. Try not to get in any accidents. I'm out here minding my own. Anyways, how did Snowman go to prison? Et tu, Brute? Snowman was at a house party with some friends, and his friends started crap with some guy at the house party that he had beef with. What was the beef? Doesn't matter. These guys were all stupid teenagers, young, dumb, and full of cum.
This is my kingdom come. This is my kingdom come.
And they were ready to throw down over some dumb shit that young men are willing to throw down over. So Snow's buddy was beefing with some dude, and they decided to go outside and settle it. God, I remember those late teens, early 20s hormones just raging. You just want to punch somebody. Somebody looks at you funny, talks to the girl that you like, and you go over and slap them in the face. Thankfully, I have settled down a lot since those days. I guess those were the Navy days, but I could easily see myself getting into the same situation as sort of the scary part. Snowman came out to back his friend up because, you know, bro code demanded that he come out for his bro. Well, that worked out really well for his friend because Snowman ended up beating the shit out of that guy that he had beef with. Like, really badly. Really, really, really badly. You ain't got to do all that, man. Just choke him out, you know, have a little nap, something like that. If you're going to, like, brutalize somebody's face, knock teeth out, all this stuff, I can't sign off on that, unless they really deserve it. Somebody worked Weezybeard over with the pipe a long time ago, and I was pretty happy about that one. But this random dude with beef over some stupid crap, I don't know, man. It's not a good look. I guess when you switch Snowman into rage mode, there's just no switching him off, though. When the cops pulled up to the party, Snowman was bouncing this dude's head off the curb with blood up to his elbows. Oprah Winfrey of head trauma, indeed. Jesus Christ. Folks who have read the Snowman stories before will understand that this is just pretty much Snowman's basic default level of violence. Which I can get behind if it's deserved, but it wasn't even your beef to hop in, and we don't even know what the beef was about. Come on, Snowman. Make better choices. You gotta do better than that. But anyways, the cops rolled up, and they took in everyone that was involved in that fight, and that is where things got quite fucked up indeed. Snowman ended up taking the whole rap. Even though he didn't start the fight, he just finished it. Oh, did his friend blame him? That et tu, Brute? Goddamn, he did. That friend ain't no kind of friend. This is what you get for having friends. Miss me with that. This is only important because Yeah, he did beat that kid within an inch of his life, but if he testified that he went out to defend his friend, he could have at least had that mitigating factor at sentencing and maybe get a bit of a break for ending it instead of starting it. Honestly, don't ever talk to the cops. You can take me down to the station. I'm good. I'm gonna wait for my lawyer. I advise all of my friends to wait for their lawyers. Then the lawyers can confirm and come up with all that stuff. Don't bother sitting me down in that interrogation room because I ain't admitting to nothing. First words out of my mouth, I want to talk to my lawyer. Provide a lawyer for me. Something like that. But then again, Snowman is known for being strong and violent, not particularly smart. Well, it didn't work out like that because Snowman's friend, the guy who Snowman was going to bat for in the first place, got some really good advice from his defense attorney. See, the other guy got an attorney, he probably got off scot-free. God damn it, Snowman, you gotta take my advice on this one, buddy, okay? Always lawyer up. So yeah, basically, it all went down like this. Snowman beat up the victim so bad that the poor kid was not even able to testify at the trial. Holy shit, jaw wired shut, something like that? Wow. The star witness was still in the hospital, and because there was no victim testimony, there was nobody there to corroborate Snowman's story. That kid was probably in a coma or something, come to think of it. Jesus, man. I'm so unsure how to feel about this one. This is quite a complicated situation. But those really are the best kind of stories. At the moment, I can't back Snowman up on this. He jumped in the middle of somebody else's fight. Screw bro code, whatever. Your buddy started the fight. I mean, maybe you gotta watch him get his ass kicked. That's just how it be sometimes. I ain't here to be your freaking bodyguard. You don't pay me enough. So yes, the star witness was not there to tell the judge and jury that it was Snowman's buddy that actually started the fight and not Snowman. Judas's defense attorney knew this and told Judas that it was a he said, she said, and that without the victim on the stand, there was no testimony to even prove that he was involved. Oh, bruh. I hope when Snowman gets out of prison, he takes this guy to task. This is the guy that really deserves it. This is some scandalous type of shit, man. Oh, I hate everything about it. So in order to get off scot-free, Snowman's buddy, Judas, flipped on Snowman and told the whole courtroom in front of everyone that Snowman acted alone and that he wasn't out there to settle Judas's beef. Bro, you're under oath. Weren't there some other witnesses or something like that? Come on, man. Snowman's probably sitting there with a public defender. Public defender got his thumb up his butt and everything. Oh, it hurts. It hurts real bad. So you had Snowman there basically saying he got into that fight to back his man up, and Judas saying, no, sir, he's wild. I don't know him. I never got into any of that shit. They couldn't prove it. So rather than sitting next to him in a jail cell and taking the sentence he deserved for starting the fight, he completely denied his involvement and skated off scot-free. Ugh, scot-free for now. I hope Snowman gets out and just mutilates this dude. I mean, prison sucks and everything like that, but how could you do this to somebody who was going to bat for you? You're just like, whatever, you do the time. This is horrible. Honestly, the judge had a pretty good idea of what was actually going on. Snowman said that it was obvious that the judge really knew what was happening, but since it was all he said, she said, hearsay, and all the evidence was the blood on Snowman's hands, it couldn't be proven in court that Judas started what Snowman had finished. I'm all for physical evidence, but in this case, you do got the, well, kind of the wrong guy. Half of the wrong guys. They should be splitting that sentence at the least. So after the judge banged the gavel and handed down the sentencing, he asked Snowman, young man, how do you feel about all of this? Snowman,
I think I beat up the wrong guy.
oh yeah, I mean, don't really do it, actually. You don't want to go back to jail after you just got out of jail, right? Just be cool. Let karma take care of that guy. But then again, I don't think Snowman's really the passive sort, so you do what you gotta do, buddy. I'm not gonna sign off on any of this, but I would understand either way. To this day, Judas is one of the only people walking on this earth that Snowman has promised to tune up on sight if he ever sees him again, which is pretty fucking intense, considering that Snowman isn't afraid of a goddamn thing. But generally, he doesn't go looking for reasons to go back to prison. Grand Theft 5-0. Oh my god. Dude out here stealing cop cars. I don't know how I went to prison. I just wanted to have a little joyride. Here's a fun fact that you might not have known about police cars. You can pull a key out of the ignition of a police vehicle and it will keep idling. Cop cars don't have dead man switches for their keys. You need to start them. But once the engine is on, the key doesn't have to stay in it. That seems kind of weird. Then again, maybe the keys are on the key ring thing for the handcuffs, or I don't know what's going on. Seems kind of weird, but okay. I definitely didn't know that about cop cars. We're learning every day. This is an intentional feature on police vehicles, so that cops can enter and exit police vehicles and leave stuff like computers and sirens or whatever on, so they can jump right back into the action when shit inevitably hits the fan. Yeah, I guess sometimes that 2 seconds can make all the difference in the world. Maybe, somehow. Whatever makes you feel better. Well, Snowman stealing your cop car definitely qualifies as the crap hitting the fan. Once upon a time, while riding a prison bus on transfer between facilities. Oh my god, dude. Snowman found himself with a guard looking the other direction while a parked and unlocked police cruiser was sitting right next to the prison bus. This is insanity. This is a new level, bro. What are you doing? You're already in prison. You're gonna lose all your good time. You're never gonna get out. This is horrible. They're gonna slap you with more charges and everything. Ugh, to put it in Snowman's words,
It was unlocked and idling, practically begging me to steal it.
I'm a cop! What in fuck's name are you doing?
I never said Snowman was a wise man. A natural disaster? Yeah. An unstoppable cyborg immune to pain? Yeah. A tapestry of human tragedy? Sure. But a wise man? Well, you can't be that smart if you steal cop cars for fun. Or if you don't hire a lawyer when the police are taking you to task in the interrogation room. Come on, Snowman. You could do better than this, I know it. This all seems like basic human stuff to me. I don't know why. Just why. Well, yeah, the cops finally caught up to him. Duh. He never actually intended to even get away. He was just joyriding. I don't think he ever got that far in his head. He built different for sure. Action versus consequence. Try it out sometime. God damn it. They hauled him up in front of a judge for sentencing. When the judge asked him why he snuck off a prison bus to joyride a stolen cop car, he said,
Boredom is a motherfucker.
Okay, case dismissed. He was bored, everybody. I don't think it's gonna go that way. I gotta say, I can't really blame him. Cop cars are pretty sweet. Maybe one day, if you're lucky, I'll tell you about my adventure with the short bus, the Catholic school, and my cop car ride. I like that. Witchfinger side quests. Witchfinger does have a couple of other stories, which we'll probably get into at some point. There's one about his mom getting a tattoo, and then there's like a compilation of short stories. Maybe this one is in that one, since this was written like 3 months ago. Anyway, that time Snowman almost got murdered in prison. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, prison's a dangerous place. Are we to the fun times yet? I guess stealing the cop car was a few minutes of fun out of like years of misery. Overall, it's not a fun place. One of the most terrifying things you learn about prison from ex-cons that tell you their prison stories is not how violent and brutal prison is, but how meticulous and thoroughly planned out the brutality can be. Yeah, they got nothing to do but plot and plan and think about how they're gonna get this dude, and God, I hate it. Please, never prison, please. Personally, I don't think we should call them prisons. I think we should call them what they really are. Crime college. Just facts. You have a lot of dangerous, violent people in a very small, confined place where they have a lot of free time to figure out how to do violent things to themselves and others. And they all sit around a cell block and compare notes on just how to do it. Goddamn, dude. We didn't do any of that. This is totally outside of my own prison experience, and God, I'm grateful. Prison murders are fucked up, honestly. Not just because they're extremely brutal, but because they are meticulously planned down to the tiniest detail to maximize the peak amount of brutality in the tiniest window of opportunity. The only thing worse than being a target of prison violence is being a bystander of prison violence, because you might get targeted as a witness or a snitch if someone comes around to tie up the loose ends. Ugh, wrong place, wrong time. Bro, I'm keeping my nose in the book. I didn't see nothing. Please just let me do my time. Don't talk to me. But then people come and steal your books because they think you're a punk. They you gotta fight somebody. Then you're in against the whole gang. Oh, I don't want to do it. None of this, please. This happened to Snowman once. Here's a pro tip if you go to prison. If someone gives you incredibly detailed, seemingly random, obscure obstructions, follow them to the letter. One day, an inmate that Snowman really didn't know or have any connections with came to Snowman in the yard and told him, "At 3 o'clock in the afternoon today, stay in your cell. Keep your door closed and don't come out." 3 o'clock, all right. On the dot, you can count on me. Snowman did what this guy asked him to, probably because he was a messenger from another prison gang and they were cleaning house. It was a respect thing. He got the warning because the other gang didn't want to start shit with Snowman's gang, and it was an internal affair, so he was being advised to stay in his lane. Wait, Snowman's got a gang? Who does he roll with? I'm slightly interested in that. But yeah, I guess it's not too pertinent to the story. I hope he's not in like one of them racist prison gangs, although I guess the racism is minimal compared to like the abject violence. I don't know. Maybe he crossed color lines. My brother's in the Mexican mafia in prison. Which seems weird because, yeah, we're both white as hell, but if you're down, then you're down, I guess. Now, I mentioned that Snowman is not a wise man, but he's not an idiot either. I mean, the cop car thing kind of makes me lean towards idiot, but at least he is following instruction. There's some sort of common sense there. So yeah, 3 o'clock rolled around and Snowman was in his cell with his door shut tight. A group of hitman inmates came running down the hall, chasing someone. The victim ran into an empty cell with an open door. They chased him in there, trapped him like a rat, and stabbed him to death with shanks. If anyone else was in that cell, they would have gotten it too, just to keep the witnesses from snitching. Oh, God, sends chills up my spine, man. I don't like that story at all. Where's the fun times? Was the fun times sarcastic? I guess it was sarcastic. I'm not having fun. I'm just terrified. Snowman's cellmates are actual psychopaths. Yeah, here's the fun part, right? I don't want to make this a political thing, but for-profit prisons are one of humanity's worst ideas in the history of civilization. Bruh, This is the tangent I was gonna go on earlier. I am so fucking with you, Witchfinger. Go off, fam. The idea that prisons can be and are a business is a stupid idea. Because if you privatize the justice system in order to profit off of cheap labor, you best believe that the people running the prisons as a business will do everything in their power to maximize their profit margins. And the first casualty of that is always human decency. Oh, preach! Keep going. We could have a whole post about this. I'll read that with some fervor. I'm all about it, dude. The sooner we disestablish that shit show, the better, as far as I'm concerned. General population means exactly that. General population. Unless you're a super high-profile criminal, violent nutjob that stabs everyone and everything, or have some other compelling reason why you might be a target, chomos, you should be alone and or protected. You're going into Gen Pop. And everyone is in Gen Pop. Everyone. And honestly, that didn't seem so bad until he said everyone like that. Why'd you say everyone like that? Does everyone include some bad people? Duh, I guess it has to. Remember that Snowman went to prison as a young man for doing some young man stupid shit at a young man house party. He beat a kid within an inch of his life on somebody's front lawn and was doing a couple of years for aggravated assault. Couple of years? I mean, it doesn't seem that long, but I did 6 months and it felt like forever. So, on the scale of absolutely batshit crap that you belong in prison for, that still puts Snowman pretty low on the totem pole. Still on the totem pole, but again, low on said totem pole. And who is the lowest on the totem pole, might you ask? The people that don't go into general population. The chomos. Because they're gonna get buried. That's what you do to the bottom of a totem pole. You bury it so the whole thing doesn't tip over, right? So let's meet some of the characters that Snowman was cellmates with during his stay in the big house. Oh, God. Should be a good time. What a colorful cast we've got. Roomie 1, Necro fill in the blanks. Snowmate's first cellmate in prison was some absolutely unhinged nutcase that murdered his wife and kept her corpse in a meat freezer in the garage. Oh, God. Whenever the dude got lonely, he'd pull his wife out of the freezer, warm her up with a heat gun, and that's enough for Reddit and or YouTube. Oh. Oh, God, dude. I want to get off the ride now. My stomach is doing backflips at that. Whew. This was a guy that was in the same cell as a barely legal adult teenage boy that beat up some dude at a party. Yeah, one of these things is not like the other. Holy hell. Get me out of here. Only 2 years, but it only takes 30 seconds to get stabbed to death. Somebody please help. Roomie number 2 was the arsonist Klansman, as Klansmen are wont to do, I suppose. The second guy Snowman was cellmates with was a racist arsonist. On one night, this guy followed a random black family that he had never met home from a gas station, barricaded their doors and windows, lit their house on fire, and stood on their front lawn with a shotgun to shoot anyone that tried to exit the building to escape the flames. What the fuck? Bro, this is horrible. I don't know which one of them is worse. They're both terrible in their own unique ways. I hate it. God, I hate it. Can we get to the fun part, please? Just watch. The post is gonna end. There's not gonna be a fun part. The cops literally rolled up to this house fire with that dude standing there watching the place burn with the gun in one hand and the gas can in the other. Absolute freaking nutcase. Needless to say. Wow, dude. Stuff like this happens every day out there somewhere. Next time I go out on a limb and tell you guys that humans are really good people deep down, You point to this story. My faith in humanity has never been lower. Again, this dude was in a cell with a child that fought people at a high school house party. Snowman said about him,
I liked him. He was a good cellmate. He had my back.
Snowman was racist, though. Yeah, I guess. You kind of got to get color-coded in prison or something like that, but it's still really not a good look as far as I'm concerned. Snowman's fun time Shank bed fight. God. Oh boy, yeah, great. For the most part, Snowman was a pretty good boy in prison. And by for the most part, what I mean is that Snowman climbed the ranks of the prison gang that he was in, and he had a good reputation, so he was well protected and people did not want to screw with him. So a lot of times, trouble didn't come looking for him. Oh, is that how that works with good time and such? Perhaps it is, because if you're in a gang, then they're gonna want you to do some gangster shit, and then you lose all your good time. But if you're higher on the totem pole in the gang, then they're like, okay, he's an OG, he doesn't have to do nothing. Can you be an OG in 2 years? I guess if there's a high turnover or something like that. I don't know anything about this. This is completely out of my depth. Something I never hope to experience. Of course, this wasn't always the case, though. And there was a time when trouble came looking for Snowman. Some dude threatened Snowman, telling him that the next day he was gonna come around to his cell and tune him up. Fun fact about prison, integrity counts. If you threaten someone, you make good on it, or you're soft. So Snowman truly believed that this dude was going to drop by the next day for a beatdown. Whether that beatdown would be that dude's or Snowman's, I guess remains to be seen, doesn't it? So that afternoon, during downtime, Snowman went over to the rusty old football bleachers in the prison yard and dug an old rusty 4-inch screw out of a rotten old piece of 2x4. He smuggled the screw back into his cell and hid it in the top bunk. This is getting so wild, dude. The next afternoon, when that dude came around to make good on his threat, Snowman was in his cell, lying on the top bunk, waiting for him. When the guy came in, Snowman leapt off the bunk bed, jumped on him, wrapped his arm around the guy's head, and with the rusty screw in the other hand, stabbed him in the face and eyes 37 times. Whoa! Yeah, somebody got tuned up all right. Shouldn't have said that, man. Picking a fight with the wrong one. Jesus Christ. Did he live? How could you possibly live through that? He's blind, lost both his eyes. I don't think you'd want to live after something like that. God, dude. We cover some heavy, gross stuff on this channel, but like this level of violence and hatred that we've seen in this episode, ooh, it's tough, man. This is something that I don't usually deal with, and I'm not quite sure how to process it. So yeah, he just lawnmowered this dude with a screw until the guards pulled him off of him. Oh, 37 times. 37 in a row?
37. My girlfriend sucked 37 dicks.
In a row?
Snowman once told me that the scariest part about prison violence was sitting in your cell waiting for your HIV test to come back from the prison doctor. He explained to me that the worst feeling in the world was rolling around in somebody else's blood because you were trying to defend yourself, only to catch AIDS just because you were trying to survive. God, I hadn't even considered that part. That adds a whole new horror aspect. Thank you so much. Ugh, God. If I didn't want to go to prison before. Let this be a lesson to everybody out there. You do not want to go. I don't care how gangster you think you are. It's gonna be a bad time. Thankfully, Snowman's HIV test came back negative, so Snowman didn't have to survive AIDS. He just had to survive comas and shootings and stabbings and car crashes and brain tumors, all things that actually happened to him after prison. Yeah, I guess compared to that, maybe prison wasn't so bad, question mark? I don't know, man. That is a wild ride. Thankfully, it's over now. That's enough sad and depressing stories about crime and punishment, at least for now. Tune in next week when Ramtide and Witchfinger truly debate the merits of Cool Ranch versus Nacho Cheese Doritos in trial by toilet combat. Ramtide will be eating an entire family-sized bag of Cool Ranch, and I will be eating an entire family-sized bag of nacho cheese, and we will determine the victor by who clogs the toilet first. I think Ramtide's gonna lose because he mostly poops in the shower. That probably won't ever actually happen, but I am a huge fan of Ramtide's poop stories. Aren't we all? P.S. ReddX, shout out my audiobook or expect a visit from the Snowman. Hey, what? I got a shotgun in my house, chest full of double-aught buckle stop, Snowman. He can survive one bullet. I did plug the audiobook in the last episode, but because I was openly threatened in this episode, I don't think I'm going to. I dare you. Come at me, bro. Link is in the description, though, if you want to check it out. So yeah, we didn't have any fun times with Snowman in prison. The whole title was a ruse. And yeah, that brought me to some new levels of violence that I don't think that we should ever experience again on the channel. I mean, life is tough out there, and stories like this only make it a lot tougher. I am scared. Just sitting here alone, I am scared. I don't ever want to go to prison. Please don't let it happen. God, I'm glad Snowman survived. He really never should have been there in the first place. And 2 years, I mean, it's a long time, but it's not really when people in there doing like 40 plus, you know? So I will say that he got off light. Luckily, the judge understood what it was that was actually going on, but I don't know, Snowman, should have lawyered up something like that. Maybe this whole horrifying detour of your life could have been avoided. Although, perhaps it made you even more into the person that you are today. Trials and tribulations are important, but goddamn, they are tribulations indeed. I hope you found some form of enjoyment in this episode. It was a rough one for me, honestly.
I asked Witchfinger about Snowman. This is what he had to say. Hey, sup, man. Nice to hear from you. I would compile it. I honestly haven't even heard from him since, well, like since the last time we were recording that shit. For all I know, he's dead or in prison. Dude has serious Ramtide hobo disappearance syndrome.
But if you did enjoy, I hope you like, comment, and or subscribe. Maybe share it around if you know some people that like prison stories. I know there's some channels out there that talk about prison a lot, so maybe I'll go drop this in the comments or something like that. I don't know. A little bit of guerrilla marketing never hurts. Anyways, we got links in the description as well. Plugs, playlists, podcasts. Hey, you'll see this up on podcast services soon. We've also got my social medias, Twitter, Discord, Facebook, and Patreon with my gorgeous, wonderful, beautiful, generous patrons. I would like to thank them very much, as I do every episode. So thank you. Classic Trash Panda, Robert Alawaits, Camille Sarah, Roxanne Wolf, Simp Jerry, Conrad Ingy, Mowire Jerry. Hey, Mr. ReddX, sir, the landlord Jerry sent Big Rigatoni to my house. What should I do? Take a bite out of his face. Captain Clown Jerry, honk honk. Destiny Piper, Aaron Jerry, Twisted Child, Broken Logic, Esteban, For Old Lang Sign, Irary feels unwanted but keeps fighting anyways. You can do it. Silent Revolver, the original Jerry, Jerry sent of Jerry's Jerryville Gym Junkies. Damn it, got me again. Jerry's Kitsune, Satori, a Jerry of dueling juggling Jerry's, a weapon to surpass Metal Jerry. My God, can he do that? A Justy Jargonian Jerry, Aspen XO, Assassin Pup Jerry, Bang Bang, Aurora Wildheart, Baby Jerry, Bailey Joy, Bearded Jerry, Bitch Gremlin, Blade the Hero, Blip Blue Jerry, Catholic Jerry, Commander J-Tank, Confederate Jew going to the Ukraine, Dennis Dayton, Dinosaur Nightlight, Disposable Waifu, Dr. Lux, Merchant Jewel, Esports 50, Frozen Never Studios, Fire Drake, Gypsy, Hey Dream VR. I can't help falling in love with Jerry. I'm Slim Jerry, I'm the real Jerry. I the Slim Jerry's are just imitating Irish pirate. The Jerrys are always after me, Lucky Charms. Irradiated Jam, Itchy Nuts, just scratching bro. A pimp named J. Chris, J.M. Coon, Jerry Blacktail, Jerry Nice, Jerry Evil, Jerry the Outlaw, Mother Trucker, Hong Kong, Jerry's Buick Riviera, John Hero, John Jerry, Jingleheimer Schmidt, KJW, Kajow, Cruhy, Landlord Jerry. There he is. These rent collection escapades are getting more expensive than the rooms. May need to increase the rate. No, we rent controlled around here. Legend Vicar, Miss Monday, Lord Jerry-O, like and subscribe. My Lady Dix, Melgar the Destroyer, Metal Factor. Hi all, get nervous. I'm gonna have to sell my ReddX tees if Teddy Coins and marbles don't stop dropping. You think I'm not gonna sell these thumbnails as an NFT? This is very low overhead, very high profit margin. But I don't think I'll do it because people hate me. Anyways, Nightmare Jerry. Okay, Steve hit Jerry with a bag of balls after catching him cheating with Tom, Paragon Soul, Phantom of the Pines, Jerrykins and Jerry Beth, Ramtide Lacramates, Rose, Jerry Miller, TSM Kirby, Sarita, the Lolita, Sassy Octopus, Scarlet Coven, Sergeant Gay Cop, Bringer of the Law, Silo Whip, Staples, aka Jerry Yeats, Stephanie Gunner, Dynamic Boomstick, Brilliant Tamago, Tapioca Boogaloo, Tato Fair, 10-Ton Monster, the Italian Greyhound Dino, the Little Sue, the Marble Jerry, no substitutions. Okay, maybe one substitutions because they were hung over there one time, but that's it. What True Fusky? Trying to find another bubble to get back to the real world. You probably don't want to blow into that balloon, not.
Unbusy Bee, V3 Prime, Vanguard Angel, Viking Jerry, Wiki Tech, Will Mags, Zephyr the Gargoyle, or Clay. A Neckbeard's blocking my path. I'll deal with it. Comrade Mooney, Kira, not another Jerry, Redwin, not Viper, Side Jerry, the Cyborg, Saint Blessing, Third Stuff, One Leg Jerry is stumped. Get it? Anoma Jerry, did anyone see Landlord Jerry? He took my honey musty and mumbled something about squeezing some rent money. I don't know nothing, just pay. Hunter Jerry's Devour All Things Tasty, and it's Tom. Admiral T-Tank, Emerald Alder, another stupid hipster, Atomic Jerry, Jerry Silla, Babsy Goon, Bartender Kelia, Broken Spine Horseradish, Cake Jerry, the original different Jerry, California Jerry Girl, Chevron 7 Lock, Corporal Admiral, Princess Furry, Warrior Woo Jerry, something like that, Crypt Titties, the Crazy, aka STI Jerry, Devon Jerry, creator of Colorful Click Clack, Dopamine Dane Jerry is, Electrical Fetick, Ghost of Alpha, Heat Not, HMT Mayor, sorry, I can't clap no more, my hands is too hurty. Oh no, I'm dying inside now. Holy Barry Jerry, Janet the Jerry's here to clean out your Tendecoin account. All 10 cents of it. Jeffrey, Gerald of Rivia, Jerry and Tom versus Happy New Year's Weeby Apocalypse, Jerry the Sussy Baka, Jerry's mom has got it going on. Check out the mustache on Jerry Old Rivera, Jerry Roxers, Jerry Role Playing Game, Judge Jerry and Executioner, Keaton Tails, Kid Marvelous, King Tom, Kit's a Kid, Life of Guardian, Little Britches Jerry. I should have never raped the two. Little Landwoods, Lucia Lovecraft, Machia, CD, maybe next time Milford get Miss Duchess, not Invisible Angel, Raptor, she's my Jerry Pie, Snary, aka Snom Jerry, Spoonie the Rogue, Spoopy Scary, Jerry Ton, Techno Dubs, the original Jerry, not the X-Card, to Infinite Jerry and beyond, we on the way. Tuna Fish Jerry, unfortunately this Jerry is using the forbidden word, no. Tom Promise, Jerry Swiss, oh, don't bad Jerry, Tom, you go boy, don't switch, just facts, fully size, go ahead, look it up, and by it I mean another ReddX video. Thanks so much. And thank you, of course, to my $1 patrons as well.
Thank you to all my beautiful patrons for lubricating the wheels of the ReddX channel. It really does mean the world to me. If anybody else could sign up on the Patreon, it would be massively appreciated, but if you can't afford to do it right now, don't sweat it too hard, friends. I just appreciate you coming on through, hanging out with me, and I hope you'll come on back and hang out with me again tomorrow. In order to do so, you need to keep yourself safe out there, wash your hands, stay out of prison, but also take some time out and do something that you personally enjoyed today. Maybe like, maybe watching some more ReddX videos. Or something. I just embraced the stutter. Always remember, friends, that you are loved, you are worthy, and you definitely deserve it. I shall see you in the next one, and until then, friends, bye-bye.